It's been a very peaceful NBA offseason. No, that's never happened. It's literally never happened. We got the Thunder making a big move on one of their priorities, and that's re-signing Isaiah Hartenstein. And I do think there's a bigger reason behind this than just to re-sign a good center. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, we got reports of the Blazers going star hunting for either Jaylen Brown or Anthony Davis, and the Rockets are trying to toughen up their defense. We're going to talk about all this, plus why the Lakers may have a bigger priority than LeBron James. Literally, a big. We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, aka the Full Court Podcast, which the name officially changes on the podcast tomorrow. So make sure you guys stay in tune with us for that. Do not be thrown off by the name change of the podcast. Also, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Try to get to 10,000 subscribers by the start of the 2026-27 season. And about 60% of you guys that watch the daily episodes are not subscribed yet. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. In exchange for that, I'll be giving you guys the best daily NBA content that you can find all the way around. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it, man. So the first, Isaiah Hartenstein gets re-signed by the Oklahoma City Thunder. There was some speculation and thought process that they were going to have to opt out of Isaiah Hartenstein's deal or trade him to a team that can absorb him so they can stay under the second tax apron. Well, they're signing him to a new 3-year, $75 million contract. And keep in mind, they had a $28.5 million contract on him for option on him for next season. So he's going to receive a 15% trade kicker in this deal also, which he wasn't traded, but that's what they're including in with them. So at a 3-year, $87 million contract, that's what he originally signed during the 2024 season, with $30 million in year one of the deal. So this is a guy that now, even with them drafting a Mara, they're showing a commitment to Isaiah Hartenstein. And, some people thought that they could move off over iHeart, but they decided to hold on to him. I think it's a smart move to keep holding on to him because it just keeps your strengths. Now you're adding a guy like a Mara. I wonder what this means for Thomas Sorber, the center that they drafted last year that tore his ACL, if they're going to keep him on or maybe look to move him down the road as they've done some other young players as well, but they still have 3 more years left on his rookie scale deal. Now, what this move does for the OKC Thunder is it still keeps them above the second tax apron. They're now 74,000 above the second tax apron, so still above it, right? They're $13 million above the first tax apron. So this does alleviate some things for them, but they're still going to have to make a decision on like a Lou Dort or something like this. But because they've gotten so close to being under that second tax apron, maybe they decide to do another move or something like this. So it's other implications in that. We'll see what the Thunder do. But is this a smart move or an overpay for Isaiah Hartenstein? I think the OKC Thunder, no. And for anybody who's new to the show, we talk about both sides of the argument. Yesterday in the episode, we talked about the Detroit Pistons. A lot of Pistons fans reacted when I talked about the Celtics side of it as far as them wanting Arthur Thompson, but even saying on the Pistons side of it, they should not get rid of it. So if you guys can't critical think, this may not be the show for you, but we talk about both sides of every argument. As a solo content creator, I think that it keeps me honest and it keeps the conversation more layered. So the side of this, that this is a smart move. OKC Thunder knows how big the West is, right? You had the Thunder, they got Terrence Reed and Jaden Quanches. They've also future-proofed themselves for size and having that. And the Oklahoma City Thunder did that in a way as well with getting a Mara, but Hartenstein gives them rebounding, screen, passing, defensive size without needing the ball a lot on the offensive side of the ball. And, of course, with Wemby and what the Spurs are doing there, you're going to need real front court answers, and they're gearing up for that. Now, you don't want to do too much to just prepare for just one team, but at the same time, they're proving themselves. Keeping a proven playoff-level player in Isaiah Hartenstein that you won a title with, that's never really going to be a bad move. Now, as far as the risky side of this for the OKC Thunder is that they already have drafted Thomas Sorber. They do have a Demar there as well. Paying Hartenstein $75 million can limit their future flexibility to where they got to do some more things like selling off good players or draft picks. But I think at the end of the day, like having too much of a good thing, that's a place that a lot of teams will want to be in. And then you make your decision based off that, right? Yeah, with Isaiah Hartenstein not closing every playoff game, it is going to be what it's going to be, but that's always been the benefit of the OKC Thunder. They've had the ability to basically go to their bullpen or tool shed, whatever analogy you want to use, and pull out whatever they need for that matchup, and that's what's kept them so good over the course of playoffs and in the regular season, right? This feels like OKC protecting its title window as they should, and especially after a disappointing, I'm glad to hear and see through practice that the OKC Thunder aren't being as reactionary as what some fans were being, right? Like, I don't even mean OKC Thunder fans. I mean, like, NBA fans. So much was made of, oh, you got to trade Chet. Oh, Chet, you got to get rid of him. You saw what happened against the Spurs. Oh, you got to send Chet out of there. And it's like, I get it. Like, but I always call it fan brain, right? And I don't mean that to like be derogatory, but it is. Fans view things in a way that teams can't do. And fans tend to be more reactionary, where teams need to be more calculated in making moves and decisions like that with their roster. And sometimes fans want the instant gratification of it. Whereas in reality, when you're a team, you have to think everything through and what you're going to do and the different dominoes that could affect. And the Thunder in this one, they keep a player that's a proven playoff commodity for them and keeps their championship window open without having to rely on now about to be a second-year player in Thomas Sorber, who's still basically in his rookie season, and a Damar to step in to replace that, and you keep Chet. What they've done now is they've added physicality where it should help benefit Chet. So Hartenstein, Damar, Thomas Sorber, these are all big physical guys, right? Of course, Thomas Sorber isn't nearly as big as a Damar, but big physical guys that can help kind of counteract some of that lack of physicality that Chet doesn't deal with the best as of right now. So I think this is a really good move for the OKC Thunder. But let's move on here. The Blazers reportedly now are going to chase Jaylen Brown or Anthony Davis. Jaylen Brown being open is going to make a lot of teams being open about it. This, so that's what comes. This one comes from Brian Windhorst that says this. From Jake Fisher that says this. The Portland Trail Blazers have emerged with strong interest in trading for Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. The Trailblazers are one of few confirmed teams that we have as active and aggressive in pursuing Jaylen Brown. The Blazers control the first-round picks of Milwaukee Bucks 2028, 2029, and 2030, as well as the 2029 first-round pick of the Celtics. Portland acquired all those 4 picks in September 2023 when they traded Lillard to the Bucks and flipped Drew Holiday to the Celtics. Portland previously attempted to trade for Giannis this offseason, but he communicated that he didn't have interest in signing long-term with the franchise. The Blazers could also pursue Anthony Davis this offseason as the Wizards consider their options. Here's the part of it for the Trailblazers. Owning the first-round picks of the Milwaukee Bucks in 28, 29, and 30, I know that's still a couple of years away, but with the Bucks going into a full and clear rebuild, those are valuable picks, especially because they're unprotected. Now, of course, with the lottery odds changing, the bottom 3 teams not having necessarily the best odds and all that type of stuff, that is what it is. But I think that the Blazers basically saying, we don't want to wait on this. We were a playoff team last year. We want to go all in on finding a star. Sounds good. Now, I do have some questions about the cheap ownership there. Like, are they going to be really ready to pay a $50 million contract and the restrictions that comes with the rest of the way that you got to build your roster with Denny's extension and stuff like that coming up? We'll see, right? But the side of it that this is a bold move for the franchise is you have the picks, you have young players, and you have the contracts to build a serious offer for one of these guys. Jaylen Brown will give you instantly a legit franchise player. That's it, a legit franchise player. There's been an MVP considerations, final MVP, all of that, averaging 30 points, a two-way player, he would do that, right? I do look at Anthony Davis and say that they changes their defensive ceiling, but you guys know, if you follow me for a while, I'm not the biggest Anthony Davis guy because he's just not available. When he's on the court, we know he's a dog. Unfortunately, he's not on the court enough for me to even be willing to do that, right? And so after trying to, trade for Giannis, it's clear the Portland Trailblazers are ready to accelerate their build, and that's fine. Now, I would say this. The side of this that errs on the side more so of desperation is trading major assets too early can backfire. Jaylen Brown and AD may not be enough to make Portland a serious contender, especially in the West. And that's what you have to look at, right? Like Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, these guys still need development time, even though it seems like there's a section of Portland Trailblazers fans that are ready to end the Shaedon Sharpe experiment. At least that's what I'm hearing from some. But I think star trades only work when the star wants to be there long term. Now, Jaylen Brown, you do have a contract of 3 years left on the contract. It can give you that time to really get things done and get on the same page, but we'll see, right? Right now, Portland is acting like a team that's tired of waiting. And as a fan of basketball and aggression, I appreciate that. But the question is whether they're building a contender or just forcing a timeline where you're going to be a good team, but your window's not truly open. And that's what the Portland Trailblazers have to ask themselves and be honest with where they are in that and where one of these trades can really get them. How far can this trade really get you in trying to move forward into your next step of your franchise? And I guess we'll see. But for that, a team that's also trying to make that next step, that's Marcus Smart. Reportedly, the Rockets are planning to target Marcus Smart, and they're looking to trade Dorian Finney-Smith as well. This one comes from Mark Stein and Jake Fisher that say this. The Houston Rockets are expected to be interested in Marcus Smart. according to Mark Stein and Jake Fisher of the Stein line. Smart, who declined his player option with the Lakers, is also expected to draw interest from several teams around the league. The Rockets are also exploring the trade market for Dorian Finney-Smith. He has 3 years left on his deal, although the last 2 years are not guaranteed. The team remains hopeful of keeping restricted free agent Tari Eason as well. So that's what's coming from Jake Fisher and Mark Stein. Here's what I'll say to this, right? I know that they need defense. They also need point guard play. They need that. Marcus Smart would fit Ime Udoka's culture, right? I can't remember if he overlapped some with Ime Udoka in the Celtics. I don't remember off the top of my head, but with Houston wanting playoff edge, leadership, and physicality, Smart could help close games and help stabilize young guards, but he's not what he once was, right? That's just the reality of it. He's just not the same player that he was a few years ago, but he is still a player that can help, but you have to put him in situations that benefit. You can't expect Marcus Smart to come in here and be the defensive player of the year candidate that he was a few years ago. Like, you just can't expect that. The fit, though, does still remain a question. Smart is an inconsistent shooter. He can hurt the spacing of the Houston Rockets even more. Houston already has several defensive-minded players there as well, and adding another strong personality that could, of course, help define roles. It can also help throw off a locker room that reportedly has some things going on in it already, right? And I think this, right? Like Dorian Finney-Smith and moving him, I know that he did not have the season that they hoped that he was going to have, but he could have a bounce back year, right? So I think this is a very clearly Houston Rockets trying to make sure that nobody wants to see them defensively in a 7-game series, but they have a lot of other things they need to fix in that as well. I guess we'll see what the Houston Rockets come out on the other side of this. All right, last topic of the day before we get out of here. Reportedly, LeBron James has multiple landing spots, and that is because the Lakers are more so prioritizing big man before they go after or decide to retain LeBron James or not. This one comes from Jake Fisher as well, who says this. I'm not here to report and tell you and prognosticate potential landing spots that I think are actually in play here, but there are definitely a lot of belief around the league, around Los Angeles steaming out of clutch sports, that LeBron has so many outcomes on the table. And it might even be more likely than not that he leaves Los Angeles than he stays with the Lakers. There are certainly a scenario and many scenarios that he's going to stick around and be with the Lakers organization. It really does seem that big man and chasing pick and roll partner and lob threat, another anchor at the end of the Lakers starting lineup opposite Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, is at the Lakers' top priority, not signing LeBron. Now, let's talk about this, right? Like, at the end of the day, I think the Lakers are making the right call, right? We're going to talk about the other side of this, but I think they're making the right call. Luka Doncic is the future and the presence of this franchise. That's the reality of it. The Lakers need a pick and roll defensive big, and reportedly Luka is putting pressure on them to find that big because Luka understands how important it is to have that big there for him to be the best version of himself. And so with LeBron's timeline being year to year, while Luka's window is larger, you are right to build around Luka, Austin Reeves, and find a big man that makes this roster make even more sense, right? Now, there are going to be people that say or ask, are they disrespecting LeBron, right? Of course, LeBron still, he drives attention. He's winning. What he did in the playoffs without Luka and Austin Reeves stands out, right? But I do think the limited dialogue between Lakers and LeBron, it sends a clear message in regards to this. LeBron is not the focus there anymore. Yeah, sure, we can keep you, we can stay, but you're not the focus of what we're doing here anymore, right? Now, some could say that you aren't supposed to let LeBron casually just walk out the room, but I say this, like, yes, LeBron still brings leadership, star power, all that type of stuff to the Lakers. LeBron brings that. But at the end of this, I don't think that you can view this as the Lakers necessarily pushing LeBron out. They're just operating through the player that they are building around, and that's Luka Doncic, and that's the reality of it. Now, as far as the best case for LeBron if he leaves LA, I mean, you can make a case for the Warriors, right? Like, of course, the Warriors are going to hope that we had that report that they hope that LeBron would take the mid-level exception to pair with Steph and Draymond Green. They also got Yaxel Lindenberg in there now and all that type of stuff. Like, that's great. It gives them spacing, gives them IQ, gives them championship DNA. But I don't think, is LeBron going to be willing to pay for the mid-level? Then also there's a case for reportedly the Miami Heat could make a case for that. With Giannis already there, could he pair with that? And bam, and they could do something there. I don't know if that's the best and most clear fit. Spacing becomes even more of an issue. But of course, we know that Pat Riley is not against chasing weird mixes to make it fit. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to this. LeBron is going to be able to go basically wherever he wants, especially if he's willing to take the mid-level. That opens up so much avenues for where LeBron can go. I still think that going back to the Cleveland Cavaliers, having that storybook ending and bookmark to your career while still actually being able to compete for a title may be the best storyline, but it may not be the most realistic fit there. And I guess we'll see. But that's going to do it for today's episode of NBA Central, soon to be rebranded the Full Court Podcast. this offseason has already been crazy as hell. It's only shaped up to get crazier. So I want to hear you guys drop your thoughts down in the comments down below. Isaiah Hartenstein deal, Portland Trailblazers trying to go all in for a star. Do you think they can get one? And then what do you think happens with LeBron James? Let me know that down below. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related. And I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making an episode. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
Been a presentation of the Breaks Media.